Hello, my loves. I am coming on today because I really want to speak about what is happening currently on the macro and the micro level of our lives, in our world, in the universe right now. And what is happening is every single one of us, whether you are aware of it or you're not aware of it, it is happening. Every single human being, every single one of us is being forced, literally forced, to own your own shit. What it means, we are literally being forced to look at the parts of us that we have been rejecting, that we have been denying, that we have been literally pushing away, screaming, not wanting to look at, because of the coping mechanisms that we developed throughout our life to protect from that very thing. So let me explain. If you are emotionally codependent right now, you are literally being forced to look at this pattern, completely become aware of this pattern, and change it by simply making a different choice, but befriending this pattern, loving this pattern of codependency, because this very pattern was only there. You developed this pattern to protect from whatever you needed protection from in your childhood, okay? So there is nothing wrong. First of all, we need to understand that all of these patterns we need to work on, all of the habits, all of the, addictive energy was only there for us to protect us, number one. So we need to look at that with a loving energy, with a loving, perspective, to simply acknowledge that this has been only our coping mechanism to feel safe in our own bodies. Okay, so this is number one, complete acceptance of a pattern. Number two is sit with that pattern, observe whatever you need to do, and that's a process. It won't take you, depending how long you have been dealing with a pattern in your life, it will take some time to unwind, to really become aware and notice. I just had a session with one of my clients, and we were talking about how we can quickly become aware of a pattern. We might he was completely aware of a pattern he is experiencing, but it takes him years to really, and that, I think that was the holding strong boundaries in that case. So really becoming aware is number one, but then it can take a long time to really shift out of a pattern. So what we need to do next, after loving, accepting, becoming aware, is to observe in everyday life, on a daily basis, where are you repeating this pattern? So going back to the codependent, emotional codependency, where are you codependent on a daily basis? Look at your own life, look at each area of your life, and honestly, day-to-day situations, ask yourself, am I being codependent? Am I acting in this situation out of a codependency, emotional codependency? And you will notice more and more how you're behaving, how you're using your protection, your defense mechanism to simply protect yourself. And what we need to do instead is really sit with those patterns. So journaling is one of the most transformative practices in my mind, because it literally allows us to get the energy out of ourselves, and we can process it in a more meaningful way. So what we need to do is sit with those patterns, completely being immersed with those patterns, okay? So whatever you need to do, however you need to process this pattern, but know that this pattern is here to protect you. This pattern you developed because of your life circumstances, your own experiences, also known as traumas, and there is nothing wrong with it, okay? So the more we sit with those patterns, the more we acknowledge them, and the more we work with them in a way that we are completely, in every single situation on a daily basis, we're just loving them. We're just, okay, here it is. It's showing me only where I'm still being codependent, or being maybe you have the opposite. Some people perhaps have a fear of intimacy. They have a fear of commitment, or fear of really getting close to anyone, only because they are afraid of losing their own freedom. That's also huge pattern I have been noticing in the in the collective. So just looking at those patterns, at parts of yourselves, that they are here only to protect you. But now the question is, what are you protecting? What are you literally not wanting to see, not wanting to face? Because that's really the key question. What are we trying to not see? It's almost like we're covering our own eyes not to see something, and it's in us. It will be in us. It will haunt us for the rest of our lives if we don't finally take the hand off the eyes, and literally look what we are doing, what we have been doing our whole life. And it's so freeing. This work is incredible, because you're literally befriending the parts of you, and you become whole. That's what's happening. So friends, I just want to really remind you that right now, going back to what I started my video, each single one of us is really battling something, and what it is, we are literally being forced by the universe, by the higher power, whatever you want to call it, God, your higher self, your whatever you want to call it. Simply, you are being forced right now, literally forced, to see those patterns, to befriend yourself, to undo those patterns, so you can become completely free, so you can become yourself, and you don't have to be scared of anything anymore. Nothing, zero. Okay, so here's my message: keep observing those patterns, keep going back on a daily basis to notice where are you repeating this pattern of yours, and instead of judging yourself for the pattern, instead of really shaming yourself, love that pattern, and thank the pattern for protecting you. Until this now moment, it has been protecting you, and you are strong enough now to look at the pattern, to look at what you're actually protecting, what you're running from, so you're able to become completely free. It's a process. What I'm talking about is not overnight shift. It takes lifetimes. So be patient with yourself. Be patient as you navigate your biggest fears right now, because honestly, underneath every single pattern, whether it's addiction, codependency, fear of vulnerability, avoidance of whatever, these patterns stem out of fear. Okay, underneath all of it, it's really fear of something, fear of not being safe. So underneath, when you really dig deeper, it's really about feeling safe in your own body. So eventually we want to get to the point where literally nothing scares us anymore, because we feel so safe in our own vessel, in this beautiful body. We feel safe with our own being, in our own being, and we don't have to run anymore. We don't have to repeat those patterns, because we are completely whole. I hope this helps. I love you, and remember, it's a process. It's a process, and we are all in this together. Every single human out there, every single one. I love you.